Should evictions be legal? Yeah, evictions have to be legal. There should just be strong protections for tenants. If evictions aren't legal, like how would you even wait, could you just live there forever? I know the meme leftist answer is yes, but you know, my thoughts on rent have changed a lot with time. The standard leftist answer to everything relating to like rent and land ownership is that landlords should be abolished or whatever, and I'm fine with the decommodification of housing. I do think there's something fundamentally useful about being able to live in a place without owning it, you know? And if you don't own it, but you live there, somebody else owns it. I imagine that would be the state, but yeah, I think like that's fine, you know. I think that's important. And somebody needs to be able to like hold you accountable for that too, you know? Because imagine a world where you can rent out housing from the state or whatever, but like there's no monetary penalty or cost associated. Like, couldn't people just fuck up houses right when they leave? Like, how fucked would that be? Like, imagine being scheduled to move into, like, some state housing and the last person there, like, just pissed all over everything on the way out. People do that, though? Yeah, but if people do that, it's like the property manager cleans it up, usually. You just arrest them? Well, sure, but arresting is even higher than a fine in terms of the you know, negative invocation of state power. Yeah. There are just nice things about renting, you know? Like, who the fuck wants to own land? Oh my god, the effort involved. Jesus Christ. God. Imagine having that much of your wealth sunk into a physical space. I get it, there's good to owning land and everything, but there's also value in being able to shift around. This is a very weird champ take. The land thing or the shifting around thing? It is important to be able to move, I think, you know? Like, imagine if you moved fairly often, like every 3 years, and every time you'd have to, like, find a person to sell the house to? Weird stuff, yeah, I don't know about that. But does having the ability to find someone for damaging public property presuppose rent? Well, there has to be some way of enforcing, like, a responsible rent taking, you know? Because what you don't want is people being able to just flippantly spread out. Like, I'll put it one way, you know? Like, imagine if just, like, everyone who wanted a solo apartment could get one. You'd run out of space in the cities, like, immediately. If everyone who wanted to live in the cities could live in the cities, and everyone who wanted to live solo could live solo, there was zero chance of cities being able to house all those people. So how do you decide who goes where? Do you have public lotteries? I mean, eventually you're going to get to some way of dealing with that scarcity, you know? Just make more cities? Okay, yeah, just make more cities. I know, but like, for right now, I mean, to be fair to landlords, some tenants are just pieces of shit with no respect to the property. I don't think you need to be fair to landlords to say that, yeah. But yeah, a lot of people take horrible fucking care of their houses. Most people would not trash their home on purpose, paying rent or not. Most people, yeah, but a statistically significant number of people would probably tear their house apart if there weren't for security deposits. Some people are just pieces of shit. I feel like a lot of lefties, like, fail in the application of their theory because they fail to account for the some people are pieces of shit. Like, this is how I feel about anarchists and prison abolition. Well, what about the people who are pieces of shit? And they're like, well, in an anarchist society with proper reformative justice, nobody would be piece of shit. And I'm like, well, some people would still be pieces of shit. Maybe fewer would be, but some would be, you know. So what do we do about that, you know? I don't know. I've never heard answers to these questions that really convince me. It feels like the best that we can do is dismantle the state and maintain some basic governmental apparatuses that still have ways of, like, correcting bad social behavior. Do you still think psychopathy would manifest itself? I don't know if that's the term for it, but there would still be people who hurt other people, you know? Serial killers and rapists and shit, yeah. You think there won't be, like, serial rapists in an anarchist future? Yeah, of course there will be, you know? There's just no way around the existence of these people. The best thing that you can do is minimize their existence, and then when they do their own shit, you capture them as quickly as you can and reform them as effectively as possible. That's always the best thing that you can do, you know? It's always the best way of handling it. You're becoming as tanky as you age. Is it really tanky to believe we might need prisons in the future? Yeah. Why are no businessmen trashing their own businesses, though? Well, some do, but for the most part, people are less likely to destroy things that are their own, or things they're responsible for, or things they will have to pay money if they get broken. I mean, isn't that always the fact? Like, aren't people generally more careful with stuff if there are consequences to not being more careful with it? You know? What if they can't be reformed? Then I guess they stay in prison. I don't know. I don't know. What does reform look like to you? I support the idea entirely, but I wonder if rehabilitation will take the form of re-education camps and other dystopian ideas. Well, I don't want to reform people's ideas, you know, just people's behaviors. In a future anarchist society, if a person wants to be a fascist in their head, that's fine. As long as they are kind to those around them and don't, like, do bad stuff, then whatever. Re-education camps are really, really scary, though, because who, like, decides what the curriculum is? That's pretty fucked, right? Like, I'm okay with society deciding you shouldn't murder people, you shouldn't rape people. That's a series of processes I'm okay with, like, figuring out. But once society starts deciding what ideas are acceptable, you're, like, going down a really, really bad slope. And by ideas, I mean, like, ideas in your head, you know? But, I mean, if you want to go down that road, yeah, you have to acknowledge that effectively, right now, modern-day prisons are re-education camps. You think they aren't, like, trying to instill certain values in people who are in prison now? It's all shades of gray in the extent to which you're willing to commit to the invocation of state power. Some are better, some are worse, but, yeah. Yeah, public education as well. It's just, build more houses. Harbinger of chaos. I'd say a significant amount of people are actually as careful or even more careful with other people's things/property if you're considerate. But there are plenty of inconsiderate people, especially when the other person's property is a landlord who they don't like because they pay money to. So, you know, this stuff really does vary. Also, have you seen how some people, like, keep their cars? Yuck. Oh my god. Can't trust those motherfuckers. Vosh, are you a Yimby? Yes. Zizek says he's 100% okay with having an obligation before you get to access free society. Yeah, like obligations like being able to follow laws, like don't murder people. I'm fine with that. Rights come with responsibilities, after all. If you have a right to certain things, that means you have a responsibility to protect the rights of other people to have those same things. If you fight against that, then, I mean, I'm okay with that, yeah. You lose the damage deposit if you mess up the house too much? Well, yeah, that's why people try not to. However, landlords are fucking assholes when it comes to assessing damage to the places. I have 2 friends right now who are currently settling lawsuits with former landlords because they got their entire security deposit revoked for pinholes in the drywall. Like thumbtacks. Like, dude, like that, you know? Entire security deposit. Like, oh, we're gonna have to fix this whole wall and yeah, fuck you. Yes, Zizek is not 100% on the ball with his political takes. I'm not disagreeing with that. Yeah, make sure to take pictures when you move in, when you get in there. If you're ever having a dispute with your landlord, there are probably in your city legal services that you can call upon to ask you for support if you decide to settle things. Yeah. I left a sticker on my dorm desk and they charged me like $120. Yeah, exactly. They're so fucking anal about that shit. Anal. They're pieces of shit. Giga cringe. Maybe you can make a video going more in depth. I'm confused as to this topic, but I want the stun lock to end. Guys, not everything we talk about is a stun lock. I mean, I don't think it's that complicated. I don't know if you're talking about housing or renting or landlords or reforming in prisons or whatever, but yeah, just got to be careful with this stuff. Yeah, I've heard about that in Mississippi. You can take possession of tenants' property within the home. Yeah, I hear that in Mississippi, if you get evicted, they can fuck your wife. Isn't that wild? Like, the landlord can just show up and she has to wait outside for 30 days after the eviction and wait for the fucking to come. It's pretty wild. Yeah, they can take your wife their own as well. Crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff. No, that's not true. No, that's true. That's true. What if you get divorced during the 30 days? Then it's kind of like the Law of Surprise in the Witcher series, where your next wife then goes to the landlord. If you never have one, then your firstborn son's first wife, it goes down for a while, like that. I know that's what Mississippi is like. You know, that's that's just how it works over there.